What kind of horse is that? That's what I asked when I first saw a Peruvian Paso. I could never forget its flashy gait or the way the horse and rider glided around the ring together. This was something I had to try for myself. After I rode a Peruvian Paso one time, I knew I'd found my dream horse. I was thrilled with the idea of never having to bounce my way down the trail or around the show ring again, like I had on horses that trot. After that amazing ride, I set out to learn everything I could about the breed. The first thing I wanted to know about was the gait. The difference is the Peruvian Paso's 4-beat even lateral gait. It's been developed and refined over the last 400 years and is genetically transmitted through the bloodlines. Some people describe the Peruvian gait as being like an automatic transmission. It goes smoothly from speed to speed, never noticeably changing the way it moves. Other breeds change the nature of their gait as they move through the walk, trot, and canter. Look at the difference between a horse that trots and a Peruvian Paso. You can see that the horse at the trot, the one next to the rail, causes the rider to bounce along, while the Peruvian gives a smooth, steady, comfortable ride. You could ride all day on a horse like that. The two primary gaits of the Peruvian Paso are the Paso Yano and Sobriandando. The Paso Yano is an equal 4-beat gait between the pace and the trot, executed at a speed equivalent to the trot. The Sobriandando is slightly faster and more lateral than the Paso Yano gait and is executed between the speed of a trot and canter. When you watch two Peruvians next to each other traveling at the two gaits, you can really see the difference in speed. But whichever speed it is, it's still the same smooth ride. Another unusual quality of the Peruvian gait is the obvious rolling of the front legs, which is called termino. Termino is another distinctive trademark of the modern-day Peruvian Paso, but it should be noted that it's not the same as the gait. The beautiful swimming movement of the front legs is an added bonus to the breed's uniqueness. I learned that horses with little termino can still have excellent gait, be incredibly smooth, and have extraordinary brio. The Peruvian Paso breed started when the Spanish brought their best horses to Peru with Pizarro for the conquest of the centuries-old Inca Empire. Soon the horses were being used by large haciendas. Often the owners would be riding all day long supervising the cultivation of their land. Horses with ground-covering, smooth gaits were favored, and those traits became the foundation of their breeding program. They also chose breeding stock that displayed endurance, strength, willing temperament, and beauty. That uncommon combination is exactly what you'll find in the Peruvian Paso today. Generations of strict selection have genetically fixed these traits, and the breed can guarantee 100% transmission of its gait to all purebred foals. It's amazing to see them display the gait from birth as they play beside their mothers. There's a popular saying among Peruvian Paso breeders that great horses are born, not trained. You can train to bring out their natural abilities, but they're not modified artificially. At shows, horses are required to compete barefoot. No shoes allowed. When I saw Peruvian trainers at farms or shows, I wondered if I'd be able to handle the horses myself, or if I could use an American trainer. I found that the horses are marvelous for novices and that good horsemen and women can handle the Peruvians successfully with some training and experience. A spectator at a gaited race benefit in Texas watched this professional trainer work a stallion in hand and then was able to do a pretty good job herself the very first time. There are some training techniques that are unique to the Peruvian Paso breed and training gear that's been used successfully over the centuries. But people who have experience with other breeds and take the time to learn the special needs of the Peruvian can do very well as trainers. In the end, it's patience, knowledge, gentleness, and tenacity that make the difference. That beautiful tack was another concern of mine. I have Western tack and an English saddle too. Was it okay to use these instead of the traditional Peruvian tack? When I asked, I found out that people use all kinds of tack. Some prefer the Peruvian style because it's traditional, beautifully crafted, comfortable, and affordable. But I decided to stick with what I had, at least for the time being. Another thing I love about the Peruvian Paso breed is the tradition of having the best of all worlds in one horse. The breed prides itself in specializing in horses that are gentle and tractable and can do it all as pleasure and show horses. The same horse can be successful in the show ring and on the trail, and can perform as a gentle novice or junior horse and still provide a thrilling ride for a professional. Even with all that spirit, most Peruvian Pasos are so friendly that first-timers can ride one and feel confident and secure. Of course, you want to evaluate a particular horse to determine if it's appropriate for your needs, but in general, Peruvians are quiet, gentle, and most of all, smooth. That's what you can expect from a Peruvian Paso. Some Peruvian owners came to the breed because they weren't able to ride other types of horses due to injury. They found they could continue riding with Peruvians. Then they realized it was a great horse for the whole family. No matter what your reason for having a horse, most people love to spend time with other horse people. Social events, open houses, exhibitions, and charity fundraisers are just some of the ways to get extra mileage out of owning a horse. The Peruvian Digest recently sponsored an extended gait competition at Pine Valley Peruvians in Texas. The event was to benefit the local autistic treatment center. Another fun and unique event with Peruvian Pasos is a Kabulgata. In the U.S., it's an extended trail ride where a group rides from one location to another with refreshments at each stop, kind of like a movable feast on horseback. What's so great is that many of the horses ridden in the Kabulgata are champions from the show ring, but they're also the best horses to take on the trail. That's because the show ring selects the world's best riding horses as champions. There are regular shows scheduled all over the country for Peruvian Pasos. If you're interested in showing, you can choose from halter to performance classes and from costume to equitation. There's something for everyone, no matter what your age or experience. One of the best parts of showing, of course, is getting together with friends and letting the outside world slip away. The Peruvian Paso Horse Registry of North America helps keep all this together for its members by way of its registry, newsletter, shows, and other services. The registry is the largest and most active organization for the breed in the world. It keeps a very strict and accurate stud book, promotes and advertises the breed, and oversees a show approval and awards system. There was no doubt in my mind that the Peruvian was the horse for me. But there was one more thing I wanted to do before I made my final decision about becoming a Peruvian owner. I wanted to talk with some folks who'd been with the breed for a while and hear what they had to say. First, I talked with John and Marlo Cochran. John's owned and ridden many breeds of horses since he was a child. And now at 80, he's still riding. A Peruvian Paso. John talked with me about the amazing responsiveness of the Peruvian and the type of relationship that develops because of it.
Until you feel that and get that feeling, you'll never know what riding a horse is. True pleasure is. And that's just simple unity where you both work together toward any purpose you want him to do, and he obeys your every command and tries to do it to his best. And you can control him with the tips of your finger, your voice, and simply squeeze him. You don't need spurs to ride these horses. You don't need spurs to train them. You simply need to let them know in your own way, in a gentle way, what you want. And teach them, and that's all, and then they'll obey you. If they don't, they're confused. It's your fault, not the horses. That's true.
Marlo told me about another characteristic of the breed, brio.
Brio is when a horse is giving you his heart. It is the most remarkable feeling that an animal can possibly give you. It's like riding on springs. You feel the horse is going to maybe explode any moment, but it is always under control. Always. That is Brio.
Next, I talked with Mike Mawhinney, who explained why he and his wife Linda first came into the breed.
We ride the horses for pleasure. You've seen some shots of us out on the trail. That's where we ride the horses. One thing that I do like about the Peruvians is that they're so easy to be with that we can come down here on the weekends and ride the horses and pretend like we're cowboys. And here we're city people and we come out to the country and just enjoy the horses. And I tell my friends all the time who come down here that there's probably not another breed that I could take them into one of my stallion stalls and have them walk up to the horse, pet the horse, put their arms around the horse's neck and hug it than you can with a Peruvian horse. This horse, ideally, is a horse that you can get on as a novice rider, feel perfectly comfortable and confident riding, and when you're off, feel like you've had a thoroughly great time. And that, to me, is the ideal horse for our generation. Linda and I, despite our youthful looks, are each over 50. And we don't want to ride a horse that's going to bounce us from here to kingdom come. We love this Peruvian horse because of the smoothness of the ride, because the animal is so pleasant to be around.
I asked Terry Jarko about the Peruvian lifestyle and how she and her family use the horses to connect with nature, which is something very important to me.
Riding on the beach is great fun. I think each time we do that, it's a moment to be remembered. And as Brian said, we took our horses to Yosemite a couple of years ago for a week, and that was just delightful. It really was. It was great fun, just riding in the mountains. And the horses enjoyed it as much as we did. And it's times like that. I belong to a women's group that we go riding for a week at a time, several times a year, and we camp. And it's just great. Everybody envies me my horse. They're riding quarter horses and dying. And I'm fine. Just fine, having a lovely time. Can keep going and going and going.
Terry and her husband Brian gave me some insight into training for both horse and rider.
Even though the Pasos have we think the best temperament in the equine world, it's very important that one learns how to ride them properly, because you get the most out of your horse if you ride it properly. And lessons are the best way to do that.
It's completely different than other breeds. You use very little leg. You sit back in the saddle. The horse is trained with a bosal, which is a leather thong around the nose. And he's almost completely trained in all his maneuvers by that before the bit is even put in his mouth. So when the bit is put in his mouth, the horse is very sensitive to any slight change in your rein. We never lead our Peruvian Paso horses by the reins that have the bit in it. We always have a separate halter for that reason. We want to keep the horses very responsive and have them have a soft mouth, not a hard mouth. The Peruvians had a really good thing going. They really know how to bring a horse along, and their training regimen makes a lot of sense.
I asked Dot Sloan about other activities they've enjoyed with their horses. We talked about the extended gate race and auction that was held at their farm in Texas.
This is our first one, and it benefited the autistic treatment centers, and it was just so exciting. I can't wait till next year. We had over 300 people here. We ran out of food, and it was just so much fun, and we auctioned off a lot of really great items, and we auctioned off a gelding and llamas, and I ended up with the llamas. So it's just really fun.
Ray Sloan gave me advice on what to look for when buying a horse.
For a new person getting into the breed, I'd say go to the shows, talk to people, get some information on horses, find out what a good horse is. The more knowledge you have before you buy a horse, the better off you are. Look for conformation in a horse, look for the legs. You should talk to people about the horses you're going to buy. And you may hear pros and cons about the horse, but you're going to have the final decision of what you do. But investigate the horse first and get a vet check.
One of the best ways to find out what the breed and its people are really like is to attend one of their shows. Here's some candid comments that were offered.
Some people exhibiting there, and it was on the news. They said at the fair, they're Peruvian Pasos, and it's the smoothest ride.
And so you went to check it out?
We had no plans on going to the fair, and we went to the fair. And that's it.
And you ended up with a Paso?
Not yet. Next year, I'm just learning.
Hey. You like them pretty well, huh?
I love them. I love them.
Had you ridden other horses?
A little bit, but nothing compares to them. And I have a back injury, so they're perfect. I can't ride anything else. But I wouldn't anyway.
What did you say?
She said we don't have to have wind ribbons to have fun.
Is that right?
That's right. We have fun anyway. We go into the show for fun. We go to classes for fun, not to win ribbons. We win fine. If we don't, we still have a good time.
Right.
Everybody has a good time. We all pull together.
I have fun at the shows.
You do?
And I try to promote that. Yeah, and Darren and I usually go together. We give each other a lot of support. We have a lot of fun. We joke around. We enjoy the people here, which is why I got the Good Sportsmanship Award, because I like to have fun. I say hi to everybody. I smile, whether I do bad or good. And I like the energy level. And for the most part, the shows that I go to, I don't go to a lot, but the ones I go to, I enjoy thoroughly.
What I like about the breed, well, I've had them since 1971 or 2, something like that. They just have the most sparkling personalities, and they're funny, and they're amusing, and they, they're real willing, they're noble, they have phenomenal empathy with humans. They're ethical, they give you everything. They're just the nicest animals and the smartest horses I've ever been around. They're very intelligent, they pick up on everything really well. I don't know, they're fantastic. Plus, the ride is just the best. I won't ride anything but a Peruvian anymore, and I've had them for 20 plus years, and I just refuse.
I always loved coming to the shows even though I don't ride, because it's a whole new world for me, and it's fun to look at the horses and guess who might come in first or second, look at the conformation, the different gaits. It's interesting intellectually, and it's just exciting. The mood is up, everybody's happy and excited and competitive, and I just really enjoy that.
I heard a lot about the good times people have with their Peruvians, but there was one group of riders I met that showed me just how far those good times can take you. The Texas Ladies Aside have become the official equestrian drill team for the state of Texas and have performed for audiences in North and South America. They've recently been invited to tour Europe. Here we see them preparing for and performing at Equitana, USA. After seeing and hearing all the great things about the Peruvian Paso, you can guess where you'll find me. I'll be gliding along the trail on my luxury horse and enjoying the world of the Peruvian Paso. See you there.